Welcome to the Integrative Coach channel, with an emphasis on the guidance and support of the great you, and also where the art and science of being a spiritual human being meet. I'm Kathy Iwanowski, and I'm a transformational life coach, registered nurse, artist, and Reiki master, and I provide intuitive and creative neuroscience-based guidance and support to your body, mind, and spirit through a variety of processes. I usually post at least once a week, sharing stories, anecdotes, insights, and what I call self-care plan suggestions that my clients have found beneficial in their life's journey. And I'd be honored if you find my content helpful in assisting you to develop and grow a life that is personally meaningful to yourself too. I know it's been a while since my last posting. There's been a lot going on over the last month, and I wasn't able to post videos as I would have liked, but I'm back and I'm glad that you're here to join me. If you haven't had a chance, the beginning of this series that I'm doing on the chakras was the root chakra, and there were 3 videos to that. Please go back and check those out. Today's video is going to be on the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra is located in the lower belly section, pelvic area. It is associated with the color orange, and it is an energy or energetic center that is related to creativity. So this could be creativity that's related to being an artist, a musician, any type of arts and crafts, so to speak. There's always being creative, of course. I kind of tend towards the artist part because of painting and doing found object sculptures myself, as well as found sound electronic music. So I've kind of gone into to that route. But you may find creativity in all different kinds of ways, including, cooking, gardening, things like that. So the other part of it being related to the creative energetic center also has to do with what I call procreation, having children. So if you're in a place where you're trying to have children, have infertility issues, you may want to incorporate work around this particular chakra to help you with that situation. In addition, it can also be related to what I call birthing of your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, projects you want to complete, that type of thing. And what I found in my 6 years of Reiki practice and life coaching is that there's also an aspect to this that very much for me relates to terminology around the birthing process. So you don't have to have been a mother who has birthed a child. If we're here and you're listening to this, you were birthed. And so there's also terminology experiences that kind of go along with these 2 aspects, either being the birther or being the birthee, that are related, also related to this area. And so if you're sometimes feeling a sense of stuckness, feeling in limbo, feeling like you're unsure of the direction to go, it might be also related to the energies of this particular chakra. So what I've kind of found, again, with my clients in this particular area is that this is a very, I feel, highly energetic center. Not only is it highly energetic itself, but it requires energy in order for us to create. It also goes along with some other chakras, especially the root chakra. So again, you might want to go back and listen to my videos or look at some of my work that I posted on that as a part of this series. Because if you grew up in a situation, lifestyle, a household, whatever words you want to put to it, in which you have still maintained some sense of fear or insecurity, you may, in a way, on a subconscious or unconscious level, may be wanting or have this sense of not being able to go there. You might have fear about failure or success. You might, there are some people, right, who are afraid to get pregnant. They've heard that it can be painful. They can heard that there's other things that might happen during a pregnancy, and they're fearful of that. It also could be that maybe they had a unconscious or subconscious birthing process that wasn't good for them in some way, shape, or form. There's many things that we would not be consciously aware of that might cause some issues for in this particular chakra. One thing that I will say, and why I say this chakra is so important, why it needs a lot of energy. I sense from my work that this chakra is very much related to our spirit. Our spirit is an energy. It does not have a form. It's formless. A lot of our life may be about just experience things on a spiritual level. How do we experience things so that spirit can experience it? You know, I keep using the word experience, sorry. But you know, that the spirit, being an ethereal energy, whatever words you want to put to that, without body. Our embodiment of our hopes and its hopes and dreams and wishes, the things it wants to experience, can only happen if we have brought it into a physical form. The physical forms most probably would be initiated, supported, guided through the energetic center of this chakra, the sacral chakra. So, just imagine any project that you want to do. It takes planning. It takes maybe the additional energy of money. You or yourself helping to actually do something about it. Let's go back to imagining birthing a being. In that being, in that mother, the mother is giving up certain things of herself in order for the new being that's being created to come to life, to come to fruition, to come to its creative ending, beginning, whichever way you want to put it, right? And so when a woman becomes pregnant, previous to the pregnancy, there's already energy being put in by the body in producing the egg. Having the egg in a place so that it can be viable and available to being inseminated, being impregnated by the sperm of the male. And so there's already this bodily preparation. Then in addition to that, when the insemination is complete and cells are dividing within this space that the mother provided in the uterus or the womb, there's energy needed for that the mother has to give. There's nowhere else that the being is going to receive this energy that is needed for its growth, for its viability to live. And so there's all different kinds of physiological changes. There are chemicals and hormones that are shifting and changing in order for this to happen, that can affect the mom as she's going through this process. The body is growing. Her own body is expanding and growing as the baby or the fetus is growing. So there's the energy required for that. There's blood exchanges, other fluids being exchanged, right? So the mom is taking on the responsibility of another human being inside of her, which requires sustenance, requires nurturing, requires different types of energy. So on an energetic level, through the chakras, if all of the chakras or most of the chakras are actually functioning pretty well, energy is flowing through them, then the energy that's needed in this particular chakra is there. Even for other types of projects that that you might be taking on, whether you're male or female, doesn't make any difference, right? It requires energy. It requires some kind of a compromise, maybe some sort of a sacrifice in order for energy to go towards that particular thing. I would say that there's a large amount of people that because of how life might be for them, how they are physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, something energetically is not there to help them to move in that direction, to have their hopes and dreams and wishes come true. So how, I don't know if I mentioned this previously in my other videos, but how I see the line of the chakras, which goes down really your spine or through the middle of your body, right, is like a piece of plumbing. So depending on how the plumbing is, right? So I look at it, if it's in a straight line, good to go, right? And then if it's got any kind of disjointedness, so imagine a piece of plumbing, some straight, all of a sudden there's an elbow curve, and then another elbow curve, maybe straight or another elbow curve, you know, it could be very disjointed, which could affect how energy flows. So imagine water flowing through plumbing, how energy flows. So if it can be as straight as possible, not disjointed, something's not pulling it out to either side for some reason on an energetic level. And then the next thing could be is it's clogged. So imagine again, you've got, you know, your plumbing at home, and there's shampoo and hair in there. Water is flowing through the drain. It's going down the drain, but it's going down really slow. It's not going at the force that we need to do any of its work. Same thing in the toilet, right? Or in the bathtub or the shower. So it could be just clogged, so that the amount of flow needed of energy to help any chakra, but most importantly, this chakra, the sacral chakra, is that clog. And then the next level could be complete blockage. Some people might have, you know, a combination of all of the above, right? You might have the combination of all of the above. So you might in your head be thinking, or your heart, I really want this dream to come true. I really want to be able to create this thing. But it's not coming together. It could be related to the energetics. Don't forget also, as I've mentioned with the root chakra, these chakras also affect energetically the organs that are in those areas. So again, as I'm talking about birthing, right, procreation, so it could be affecting the ovaries. It could be affecting the uterus. It could affect a bladder. It could affect again, where the sperm is created for the males. So again, a very I find it to be one of the most important chakras as far as having purpose, regarding purpose and direction in a way, because again, it's taking this idea, this dream, this thought of our spirit. Our spiritual side wants to experience something, and the only way it can experience something is before that something to start becoming real. And again, let's just look at the kind of like overall definition of creativity. Creativity is about taking either something from nothing or taking some other things and combining it to make it into a new thing. Right? So Carl Jung talked about this as a psychiatrist, talked about this in making something new. So again, very much how artists are. So if you think of this particular chakra, you could think about the creativity of an artist. They start with a blank canvas. Writer starts with a blank piece of paper. Composer starts with a blank piece of paper to write the notes on, right? Also, the other thing to remember regarding this, coming from that creativity artist perspective again, is that would you ever imagine that someone was coming out to do a performance for you, let's say. They're going to come out and do a dance performance, or they're going to come out and do a instrument performance, or they're going to come out and do a play. Do these people just show up to do the show for you that night, of which you've paid, quite a bit of money, and they walk in and they're given that piece of music right then and there, or they're given the whole script for the play or the performance? Do you believe that the majority of the time, now there is such a thing as improv, but do you believe that the majority of the time that these people come and do that performance for you without doing some rehearsal, without doing some practice, without doing some tweaking of some sort, and so that that performance, that creation that they're doing for you is instantaneous? Most often not. Unless it's experimental, unless it's improv, something like that. And so imagine this for yourself also when you are thinking about procreation, having children, birthing your hopes, your dreams, your projects, your wishes, this type of thing. It takes some practice, it takes some preparation. Imagine, let's go back to the birthing process. We were all in the womb for a certain amount in that uterus, in that womb for a certain amount of time to get to develop. And yes, there are things that happen prematurely. It doesn't matter whether it's birthing or whether it's a project. Something may end abruptly, or something may be created quickly. May not be fully created to the level that is sustainable and we would like. Then it needs some more support outside of that space. So I hope this makes sense of what I'm talking about regarding the sacral chakra, having to do with creativity. And so let's talk a little bit now about how you can, again, look at this in the birthing terminology perspective, because I find this to be really fascinating. As a matter of fact, I maybe should be a little ashamed of myself, but anyway, been doing this for 6 years, and it's been in the past year that the birthing terminology has just been really hitting me regarding this particular chakra, and helping people to have their hopes and dreams and wishes come true, have them work towards their developing and becoming pregnant, right, with a child. Reiki, in which I use the chakra work, has been beneficial to at least 3 to 4 of clients I've known over the 6 years, that they specifically believe that working with Reiki and working with the chakras help them with their pregnancies, to get pregnant, to overcome their fear of becoming pregnant, become a parent, this type of thing. So it's anecdotal, but I did want to just share that there are some people that have worked with this particular energy in Reiki, chakra work, and specifically with the sacral chakra for those types of things. So the birthing terminology, like I said, kind of came together really solidly for me in this past year. And it was making me think about all the times, even in my own life, where I just felt like there were times where I couldn't even say the word limbo. I didn't know where the hell I was, but I just knew I was between things. And I used to call it the image that I saw myself in these situations was that I was a sailboat out on a body of water, and there is no wind. The sail is limp. There is no wind. I am just sitting there, as I say, dead in the water, and I can't see around myself. It's like I would use the word like thick pea soup, fog. Couldn't see my hand almost in front of my face. So in that situation, I would used to get really tense and anxious. I would be like, what is going on? Why can't I see past this? Why isn't there a wind? I mean, I have all these questions in my head, like what's going on here? And then at some point, something would happen. Either the wind would kick up and I would feel movement in a way, or the fog would start clearing, and then I could see either what kind of body of water I'm on and how is the water and is there a landmass nearby, so I could at least judge I'm close. So there's other images that each of us have that we might put towards that. So like I said, you might just feel stuck. You might use the word stuck, lost, can't find my way, don't have a sense of purpose or direction. See how this really kind of fits together. All right, so let's go to the birthing process. So let's do it first from the mom's perspective, right? The actual birthing. So she's feeling contractions. The baby wants to come out. So feeling contractions. At some point, there's, as the process is happening, right? The contractions may become stronger. And then the mother usually is like thinking, okay, well, I better start, preparing for the process. Something's going to be happening soon. What soon means to and is to each individual mother is a different thing, but in general, feeling more contractions, stronger contractions, closer together contractions, and all of you out there that actually are midwives or obstetricians, labor and delivery nurses know this even better than me, who was a hospice nurse most of my career. So, but anyway, you get the point. So then the mom is like preparing, okay, I better start getting things together. Things might be happening. The contraction might completely come to a stop. So they're in the midst of, I don't know, getting on the way to the hospital. They're already in the hospital. The contractions, everybody's like, yep, we're going to keep watching these contractions because things are happening. And all of a sudden the contractions can come to a complete stop. Or they may be there and everything happens very quickly for the mother, from the contraction to the next bigger stage of what they call the water breaking, the amniotic fluid sac breaking, or the contractions can just go on and on and on. They can be stronger, they can be lighter, all different kinds of things can happen in that stage alone. And so there's, this sense of, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Or why is it happening so fast? Or why is it happening so slow, right? So there's that kind of thing going on. Then the water, let's say the water breaks. And so then that means that the next stage of preparation is that the opening from the uterus is going to start widening so that the baby can start coming through. Well, we all know that there are other things that can happen for the baby in that situation prior to that point and at that point, having to do with positioning. Is the baby in the correct position to be birthed the most easily, the most safely, the most properly? And so all kinds of things can happen in that stage or that point, so that the mother and then of course the baby at that point is like, what the heck's going on here? Why aren't I moving along? Why isn't it moving along faster? There's all those kinds of things going on. And then as the baby is moving through that opening from the uterus into the vaginal canal, there's that whole space there, right? So the mom is feeling all of these sensations as they're going on. We don't know about the sensations so much of the babies, right? But we do have some other things, and I'll share that with you in a moment, from being the birthee, the baby being birthed, that kind of go along with this too. So anyway, in that stage of being in the birth canal, still other things can be going on that have to do with being slow, being fast, just sitting there waiting, being stuck, this kind of thing, not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, type of thing. And then there's also the last part of it, which is the actual coming out. and also the mom's body changing and being able to stretch and be able to position in a way for the baby to be born. So all kinds of things can happen during these particular stages. Now, there is a particular stage in this whole process called the transition stage. I had a baby and I can remember it. And they talk about how during that particular point, it's like, I think the mother kind of realizes that point of no return. The baby's not going back in, the baby's coming out. And so just depending on what's going on for that particular woman, her preparation, her body, all this kind of stuff, this can be a place where she can birth the baby naturally, after that point, or may need some assistance with anesthesia of some sort. It's kind of like the point of no return. And also during that particular time that I remember, I'll just use my own personal experience, that during that time it was like I had no patience at that moment. I didn't have patience for anything or anybody. All my mind was on was birthing that baby. And so if my husband was talking next to me, I just wanted him to shut up. And there are probably other words in my head besides shut up, but anyway, and this is another kind of sign of that. Maybe somebody who hasn't really used curse or swear words, this might be the time they're using it. Doesn't always have to do with pain. That's the interesting part. Not always, at least for me, wasn't so much about pain, but this sense of impatience, this sense of I can't even put a word to it. If there was a color that I could put to it, it would definitely probably be in that orange to red range, so kind of going along with the lower body too. So that from the mother's perspective, right? There may or may not be pain, lots of pain, hardly any pain during that whole entire process. Once the baby is born, it's not that you totally forget that you had some discomfort, but it's you change, your body, mind, and spirit change at that point. You have a new living being in front of you, hopefully living being in front of you. Now, from the birth perspective, us being birth, the birth-e, so similar kinds of things. But let's look at it from this perspective. We're in the womb, the uterus, in the amniotic fluid. Of course, the mom's body is growing along to accommodate us as we're growing and getting bigger. But we're still somewhat in a confined space. And all of our needs are pretty much taken care of for us. As I mentioned before, the exchange of blood and other foods and giving nutrients and taking toxic materials away, things like that. The mother's body is taking care of that for us. Our mother's body is taking care of that for us. We're in this more confined space. As we're developing, we're pushing the envelope, so to speak, right? So mom and dad can feel our little hands and our little feet pushing on there, but basically we're pretty confined. And then the water breaks. So now we no longer have the water surrounding us, and birth hopefully is probably impending, is imminent, is near. But there's those other things I was talking about, right? The opening of the cervix. What if mom's cervix doesn't open up quickly? What if it doesn't open up easily? What if we are not in the right position for the birthing process to happen as smoothly as possible? So there's that in limbo, that waiting space, right? And then let's say we're starting to pass through. Anything in that passing through is still a confined space, especially around our head. So where our eyes, where our mouth, where our ears are, right? So as we're starting probably to percept things, it's a dark place. It's still a confined space. And it can take a quick time or a short time, just like for the moms, and the perception of time and what it's taking, and then being in that birth canal. So, and even at the end, what if the mom's anatomy is such, or what if we're coming down and being birthed in a position that doesn't allow for the simplest delivery, so to speak, then we're waiting at that spot, so there's a lot of waiting most of the time. There's maybe some situation which things happen fast. So again, this could possibly fit in with how we feel when we're going through different things in our life, and trying to create things, trying to birth things, either physically or on other levels, is that what if we had things happen too fast? We had things happen to such a quickness that the rest of us, so to speak, wasn't in sync, in alignment with that physical quick birth, and vice versa, right? That maybe the birth was so slow, so stunted, in a way, so that that also might affect us on an energetic level too. So when I'm working with clients, doing Reiki, especially for the very first time, I put a stone on each of 6 chakras, and the sacral being one of them, of course, in that situation, using an orange stone for that, with the intention that the stone on there is to help energetically to support the person regarding the energy of that chakra. And I will be doing a separate video, like I did for the root chakra, on some what I call self-care suggestions that can go along with this particular chakra. So they are different things that you can do with intention, actually do physically, do through writing or journaling, some kind of creative process, just again as a self-care way to improve on either that disjointedness of that chakra, the flow of the chakra, the blockage of the chakra, just opening ourselves up, which again goes along with the birthing process, right? Opening ourselves up is a really another good way of looking at this. And it may take other work with other chakras, with a practitioner, in order to have the right amount of energy available to this particular chakra so that it can function properly, right? Because what Reiki is all about is getting you and helping you, guiding you into a relaxed place in which the energies can flow to the places on different energetic levels, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, for that chakra to have that energy it needs to work and perform at its optimum. So I hope that this has helped you to understand a little bit about what kind of things can go on with this chakra. Maybe one of the things you might want to do is to just do a little quiet reflection about how do you experience stuckness. I told you about my sailboat on the water, right? Maybe you have a different image or picture in your mind's eye as to what stuckness feels like. Maybe you don't have an image, but you have a physical feeling that goes along with it. That whenever you have that physical feeling, that just gives you the best impression that you have this stuckness going on, that you are feeling lost, or whatever other words you might put to this. So I would suggest that some of the things you might want to do is to practice around this. Of course, I am a nurse. but I'm not a doctor, so I cannot prescribe. So I just say that if there's anything else going on in the pelvic area, don't just disregard it. Make sure that you are seeing your primary care provider routinely, so that you are staying on top of physical manifestations. However, we do know that there are mental, emotional, and spiritual things going on for us that can affect us physically. And often it can either be the first thing is that we feel physically, or the last thing we feel physically when some of these other things energetically are going on. But I definitely don't want you to disregard the physical things that are going on for yourself and just say it's energetic. I always think of looking at things in an integrative manner. That the best of what both the Western medicine and what energetic medicine can offer are great ways to help to take care of ourselves. So again, I thank you so much for being here with me today to learn about the sacral chakra, the chakra of creativity. And please feel free to like or subscribe to my channel if you like the information that I'm providing. Feel free to contact me through the links that are in my description. And hopefully I'm back on track, and we'll be able to get the next section out to this within a week, so that you can package this kind of together, and hopefully that can help you. All right, everyone, have a great day, and thank you again so much for joining me about the sacral chakra and the chakras in general.